Nothing much more to say about the coronavirus fiasco in Victoria other than the obvious. There's been a massive loss of jobs, massive. So what's going to happen when the 3.5 million on JobKeeper hit the market? Look, make no mistake, I'm not a pessimist, but we're not in recession. We are in deep recession. Against that, Dominic Perrottet, the able and sensible New South Wales Treasurer, is saying that the pain of another lockdown would be unthinkable. And he rightly says lockdowns have a human cost, even if many don't see them. And of course, as he says, JobKeeper has been like a ventilator, keeping households and businesses going when they might not have survived. But he warns it comes at an enormous cost and it cannot continue indefinitely. Perrottet is a welcome voice in a New South Wales government that seems ready to lock down everything. He has warned another lockdown would come at a cost of $1.4 billion a week. North of the border, Annastacia, you've gone mad. People from Greater Sydney now are being prevented from entering Queensland, or they will be at about midnight tomorrow night. What's this mean for the NRL? There are 4 rugby league teams in Queensland, but presumably teams from New South Wales cannot cross the border. The reality is in all of Australia, we have 46 serious cases. 46. 11 in New South Wales in intensive care. Are we going to shut down everything every time there's a positive test? As I've said many times, in all of these things, we're never told how many of these so-called positive cases are mild and how many are critical. Except for months now, the World Health Organization has said 99% of the cases are mild, which is more than you can say for the rain, which I talked about yesterday. It marched at unstoppable speed from Queensland at the weekend and centred north and south of Sydney. The Hunter and the Central Coast regions were lashed. The Tamworth River broke its banks yesterday, and the central west of New South Wales, now, they're infamous for their dry conditions, actually got a flood warning. But streets and homes have been inundated with flood water. Wind has pulled down trees. And what about this? A truck sent to fix a burst water main at Double Bay in Sydney was swallowed by a sinkhole caused by water gushing from a broken pipe. I mean, that'd be a hell of an experience, wouldn't it? Crews were sent after the water main burst. This was in the dark, 3:30 a.m. in eastern Sydney, when a small tip truck carrying an excavator arrived at the scene. The front wheels fell through the road. Not for the faint-hearted. And I mentioned to you last night the story of Linda in quarantine in Sydney, locked up with her daughter in a tiny room with no fresh air, and she and the daughter have to share a bed. This is the Sheraton Hotel in Sydney. Even in Victoria, those who are infected, and Linda is not, are allowed to leave their home during lockdown. I must say they're funny people in Victoria. They argue that to prevent people from leaving their home during lockdown to exercise would infringe on their basic human rights. So apparently human rights come ahead of public health. Work that out. But anyway, Linda has no positive diagnosis and she can't get fresh air or exercise or even a bed for herself. We checked with Linda today. She still heard nothing. We then spoke to government. She's still not allowed outside the room or she'll cop a $1,000 fine. And the New South Wales government, I won't tell you to whom I've spoken, but they said they'd do something. As I go to air tonight, nothing's been done. Gladys, where are you?